Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new 2021 NR2003 Cup Series season here on the channel with this time out Phoenix Raceway. I am joined once again by Jay Cook in the booth with myself here as we're getting ready to take the green flag at Phoenix. What has been so far a crazy start to the season, 4 races in, big crashes we've had, and it's been looking like we're in store for an interesting race here again in Phoenix. We've spent 2.5 hours now. I think Jay trying to get this sorted out, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been a pretty big headache. Honestly, I didn't think it could get much worse than the clash, but it did today. We've had issues upon issues upon issues, and if we can just get this thing in and finally have a good race, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm hopeful as well. So we have 188 laps here coming at you guys today, and stage one will come to an end when we or will come to an end at the end of lap 50, hitting lap 51. Stage two ends at the end of lap 100, going to 101, and then of course we race it in the final stage all the way to lap 188, as you will see the starting grid here in Phoenix. But Jay, like we mentioned so far, been a crazy season with some big crashes that have really spiced things up. I mean, look at last week was a great example. Kevin Harvick dominating, gets wiped out by Quentin Helf there late in that race. So, I mean, it's been a crazy start to the season, and I would expect nothing less today.
There's three big things that I want to highlight so far that you've been talking about this season being crazy. The 16th driver in the playoffs right now is Cody Ware, which a guy who we don't expect to be competitive at all. And I mean, his qualifying efforts there show that he's not competitive. He's back there running with the Rick Ware guys. And then another two guys that I want to focus on who are having terrible starts so far is Bowman, who only has 40 points. He's been having a horrendous start to his season compared to the other 300 guys. And then Keselowski only has 73 points, which is 30 or so ish off of being competitive for the playoffs. So I think the biggest thing we need to look for today is for Bowman to actually finally have a decent run in his new 48, and then we need to see Keselowski actually have a good run here, which he's qualified decent. So hopefully for him, he can keep this qualifying performance up into the race.
Yeah, I look at a guy like Keselowski here as we're taking the green flag with Blaney and Larson out front. I mean, I think back to Miami, Jay, where he was running top five and got cleaned up by Martin Truex Jr. in that big incident. He's been an example, I think, of wrong place, wrong time. And honestly, the way this racetrack is, I think we're going to see a lot of wrong place, wrong time here today. What about you?
I agree, especially with the way this restart is right now. If we have any incidents happen and we have some guys that are still on the track but very very slow like we had last week, then we'll definitely have the same lap car issue that we've always had. And even if they eventually just naturally run up on lap cars, no matter what, don't like to get out of the way, and they cause issues for these leaders. So I think it's going to be every single race this season. We'll be talking about right place, right time, and just getting through those lap cars as easily as you can.
This is what I'm watching right now. They're four wide, and that's not going to end well, I don't think. Oh, man. They're okay for now. Harvick was four wide with. He still is four wide, actually, with Buscher, Suarez, Elliott, and I am amazed that they haven't crashed yet. But, oh, they are getting so close. There's a cut down onto the dog leg apron, but that is 2 laps complete here in Phoenix. And after the test runs myself and Jay have done, that's gold star worthy right there now as we come through out of turns two. But I mean, we're just getting started here, Jay. We know how crazy these restarts always are here now as they go down into turn three. But I feel like once the tires start to wear, these guys get a little bit more spread out. I mean, who do you think right now out of the guys who got on the track that we should be looking for?
My immediate first thought is Kyle Larson. We see him going there for the lead. We know the speed that he's had so far this season, and he's been able to or shown the speed to be able to win every single race so far this season. He's just not had the luck. So I'd immediately look for him. Kevin Harvick is another easy choice. We know how good SHR has been this season, and we know how good Harvick is at Phoenix. But one guy who needs to have a good run is sitting right there in third place, Kyle Busch. He's been having decent speed so far, just not getting the results that he wants at all. So he needs to have a clean race and have himself a good race as well.
Yeah, I mean, Harvick 2 wins on the season for him. You look at him; he's having a good season. But I mean, there's a lot of drivers that are having trouble. I mean, Harvick, other than his 2 wins, he's actually DNF 2 races in a row. So he's got a 50% finishing rate right now. So when Harvick can finish the race, he's definitely a guy to watch out. Eric Almirola won last episode, and I mean, Jay Stewart Haas. They've won every race so far, with Harvick winning the 500, of course, then the Daytona Road Course, which shocked us all, and then Custer wins Miami, and Almirola Las Vegas. So right now, the rookie of Briscoe is the only one that hasn't won. But I mean, we already see Almirola moving his way up. I think that there's a good chance at a track like Phoenix Stewart-Haas could continue their winning streak.
I agree, and I was looking back there to see where Briscoe is, and I don't think he's too far off of the top 10 right now. I think he's in about 16th place or so. So
18.
obviously not running as well as his counterparts, but he's also a rookie, so give him some time to get going here. But yeah, I agree, and we've also seen Almirola have speed every single week this season, and he's showing it again so far today. So very surprising in my opinion, but if SHR is truly that good, then I guess we could expect him to be running where he is.
Right now, Larson with about a half-second lead there at the end of lap number 7. As we mentioned, stage 1 comes to an end here at the end of lap 50. Stage 2 comes to an end at the end of lap 100, so keep an eye on that now. As you see Kyle Busch, you were mentioning him, Jay, another driver that's had a rough start to the season up here on P3. Last week, he's had trouble every week. I mean, there's no denying that, but last week he kind of just had trouble but bared through it and had, I believe, it barely squeezed into the top 10. So maybe a bit of a turning point for that team.
Yeah, he was a guy who we were talking about having a good run, and then all of a sudden, issue after issue after issue after issue. So he had I'll call it Daytona Road Course 2.0 week last week. He just, once he had one issue happen, he just couldn't stay away from the wrecks and having contact with the wall and having everything go against him. And he still, I think, like you said, I also agree. I think he put out a top 10 still somehow. So looking for him to have another clean race here today, and not have any issues when we're talking about him.
Yeah, it seems like last week we mentioned it where the commentators cursed every time we were talking about someone being like running good, something would go wrong for them. I remember emphasizing the big lead Harvick had just gotten because of a lap car, and then one corner later, his whole race came to an end because of Quinn Health. A lap car as Almirola gained about a tenth or so right there on the back of Kyle Larson. But so far, Larson doing a solid job here, just kind of managing that lead. And Jay, we mentioned another driver that's I think really he's the only other driver other than Harvick and Almirola that has been in contention to win every race so far, and he's had some terrible luck setting him back. But here he is today doing a good job managing it. And honestly, uh, if he doesn't run into a trouble, I don't see how we don't look at him as a favorite to win.
I agree, and I think the only other person that has been running at least consistently well so far this season is Kurt Busch. I've seen him up front a lot so far this season as well, and he's running decent so far today. And William Byron, I'm noticing right now, is hard charging. He's been coming towards the front and getting held up by Blaney. But to go back to Larson, I agree. I don't see how we don't choose him as a favorite for almost every week at this point. He's always up front. And he's always leading. It's just unfortunately he's getting caught up behind lap cars a lot, and it's kind of, for lack of a better term, screwing him over and keeping him from the results that he deserves. But we'll see him eventually get through and get a win this season. I have no doubt about that.
And we got the new teams here, Trackhouse and 2311. Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, both having solid runs right now. They are currently just outside of the top 10. Suarez P12, Bubba P13. But Jay, we've seen Bubba really struggle with this 2311 car, not only in real life, but in the game so far as well. And it looks like today they're actually starting to run a little bit better. But what do you think it is? Just growing pains, figuring out a new team, or what's going on exactly over there?
I have to think that it's just growing pains with a new team. I mean, we've seen Trackhouse take off a little bit better than them, which I don't think anybody expected to happen. But I mean, we obviously know that Bubba has talent. He can run really good. So I think it's just like you said, growing pains. The team just getting acclimated to running races and figuring out the kind of equipment they have, which I would have to think is good because they're most certainly a fifth JGR team. And so I think it's just a lot of figuring things out and figuring out where they are and getting the right adjustments. And I really think, in my opinion, no practice is really hurting these guys because they don't have the time to get to know each other and spend extra time on track and figure out how the car drives and all this kind of stuff. So it's probably going to take them a little bit longer to get going than anybody expects. But I really do think that once they find their foot find their ground and find where they're going, they're really going to come out strong and look a whole lot better. Which, honestly, another person who's struggling that's not on a new team so far is Bowman. He's still not running great so far today. Mentioning him
No,
earlier, not having a good season, and right now it's nothing to do with luck. He's just running bad, really,
24th.
really bad.
So is Bell, by the way, 27th, I think it was, or 26th. He just moved up to 26th. But another rough day for him as well. I mean, Bowman's getting beat by a new team of colleague there. I mean, look at as well, Jay. We got Chase Elliott, who won this race last season in the championship. He's currently running all the way down here in P18. Truex is struggling. Hamlin struggling. We got a lot of big names right here struggling right now, which, I mean, helps out drivers say like Tyler Reddick. I mean, you look at him having a strong run right now. But what I'm noticing here, Jay, I don't know if it's maybe just a product of the package or what's happening, but it seems like these guys are having a bit of a tough time passing. We saw Almirola run down the 5, and he hasn't really been able to do anything.
Yeah, I think aside from the restarts here, we're really going to see, kind of like the real life Phoenix, we're really only going to see them be able to pass on the restarts, and that's just because of how crazy these restarts can be with them being 3 and 4 wide and such, and things like that. Once these guys get single file, there's really only one line to run, and that's all the way as far to the inside as you can, and then use up as much of that exit as you can to get to the wall. So it's really, I don't think it has much to do with the package as much as it just is the way the track is, and there's really only one line to run. And if you're not running that line, then you're just slow. You have no other, you have no other way to compete unless you get to someone's inside. You're not going to be able to pass them.
Yeah, I feel like the only opportunity some of these guys are going to have once we kind of get settled out is to cut that dog leg and hope they can get under somebody. But you look at the fastest laps on the board right now. Kurt Busch, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, your top 3. So Larson makes sense. I wasn't expecting to see the 9 of Elliott that far up the board, considering where he's running right now. Briscoe rounds out the top 10 with that. But 21 laps in, already almost halfway through this first and opening stage. Things have calmed down a bit. We're going to go to a quick break here from Phoenix and come back and bring you to the end of stage 1. And welcome back here from Phoenix Raceway. Kyle Larson continues to lead the way over Eric Almirola and Kyle Busch. But while we were gone, Kurt Busch gained 2 spots past both the 12 and the 24. Byron falling down the order a little bit now. Keselowski's followed through as well. So Kurt Busch up to 4th. Brad Keselowski rounds out your top 5 here at Phoenix. So Jay, we were mentioning, earlier, Kurt currently has the fastest lap. Clearly a lot of speed in that one car. I mean, he's the only one that we really saw being able to make passes there under that commercial break.
Yeah, once the tires started getting a little bit older here, Kurt started showing a little bit of his speed. So I think he really does have a car designed for the long run, and he's even started to pull away from these guys here. So I think Kurt certainly probably has one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest car on track right now. And Larson's been able to gap Almirola a tiny bit, and then they've also gapped Kyle Busch a tiny bit. So not really too many things happening here. We don't really have a guy dominating and pulling away, but we also don't really have that much passes happening. We've had Harvick make a pass for 9th place, and that's about it. Just a lot of these guys running it out right now, getting the feel for their car and all that kind of stuff. So I look for this to probably be this calm until the end of stage 1.
Yeah, and we've seen on the leaderboard, Elliott's now dropped down to 21st. Quinn Half is a few laps down. We believe he potentially had some contact with Anthony Alfredo, who we noticed had some damage on the left side of his car. What I'm noticing, Jay, based off of the timings here on the leaderboard, it almost seems like there's a bit of a back and forth game going on here for Larson, even Almirola, but Kurt Busch as well, where Kurt gains for a lap or 2, but then Larson kind of stretches it back out. So I'm curious to know, like, if Larson is just not even showing the true potential in that car right now.
I don't know if it's that or if it's just maybe the sheer like him and Almirola, their cars are just that close. Which I think it might be a little bit more than that than anything. We know that Larson, he obviously has clean air, and he's still not really able to pull away from Almirola. So either Almirola's car is just that good, or maybe even a little bit better than Larson's, or maybe he could be not really pushing all the way right now and holding a little bit back. But I wouldn't be surprised to know that Almirola is just as fast as Larson, because we've seen Almirola be competitive this entire season so far and be the guy. Other than Larson, he's the next guy right there with him all the time. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, or it doesn't surprise me at all to see them running 1-2 and very close to each other right now.
Another guy that I remember you mentioned while we were gone there on break, charging their way through the field, was Denny Hamlin. And here he is passing his own car of the 23 above Wallace. So Hamlin now moves up to P12. He's slowly but surely working his way through the field here at Phoenix. Alex Bowman, unfortunately for him, he continues to struggle here currently at Phoenix Raceway. Now it's Kurt Busch. He's dropped to 2.5 seconds behind. Almirola now, Jay. He's right on the back of the 5 of Larson, so he's kind of brought a counterattack to that fight. But I mean, we're seeing how hard it is to pass. I don't think if he cuts the dog leg, he's not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, I think the only way he's going to be able to pass is if he gets to the dog leg, or maybe just here in 1 and 2, he runs way lower and forces his nose under Larson and makes his own line. But I think it'll be really, really, honestly, really hard for him to pass Larson unless he just suddenly comes out of nowhere with a lot of speed compared to Larson. Then I think we'll probably see him struggle to get past and maybe not even have a chance to get past. As you can see now, they're both getting a lot further away from Kyle Busch. So I would say either Kyle's car fell off a cliff, or this just goes to show how much speed these guys have and how much long run speed they have.
So there's currently, as you see, Gregson actually on the pit lane. It's about a second and a half, kind of, between the 18 and the 1 of Kurt Busch. So it definitely seems like that 18 does not have very good long run speed right now. So it was now 1.3. You lost a tenth there. Kurt Busch lost 2 tenths. So actually, Kyle still pulled away from the 1. So looks like I'm wrong on that end. But one thing I'm noticing, Jay, we're coming up on lap traffic here. But you're also mentioning, most of the lap traffic we've been seeing in past episodes has been a lot of damaged cars. This time, these guys have a lot more pace. So, I mean, how do you think they're going to navigate around these guys, considering the situation now?
I think them having a lot more pace is almost even worse than if they're really slow, because when they're really slow, especially at a short track like Phoenix, you can easily find a line to get around them, or you could just outbrake them into a corner. When they have, I wouldn't say relatively the same pace, but when they have at least decent pace, you're gonna struggle to get around them because you're not like exceptionally faster than them in any part of the track except for maybe the middle of the corner. So Larson's going to have to find a way here to just find them at the perfect time and get around them, and either that or maybe they'll be nice and get out of the way. But I doubt that. So I think it'll be something to watch here as Larson tries to navigate his way around these guys, and we can finally see if he can get around them without any issues.
And now 10 laps to go in stage 1, coming to 9 to go here. Almirola has done a tremendous job all stage, just being right there, putting the pressure on the back of the 5. Larson has no room for error at this point here, and we're really going to see now as he closes into the back of Ty Dillon what's going to happen here in terms of how these guys navigate their way through this lap traffic now within the next probably lap and a half or so as he comes through out of oval 2 or out of turn 2 down the backstretch. This is going to be interesting. And Jay, I noticed that Larson now all of a sudden has nearly a half-second gap on Almirola. He's kind of opening it up as he approaches this lap traffic, which could be just a tactic, knowing how he's going to have to deal with these guys.
Yeah, he may just be now. He could have been, holding back this whole time. And
Oh
oh
my God!
man, that was extremely close. Luckily for Larson, not too hard a contact there, if any at all. But yeah, he could have just turned on the jets now, knowing he's coming up on lap cars, and he doesn't want to waste any time sitting behind them. So it's either that, or I mean, just a case of we're getting into the extreme long run now, and Larson's showing how good of a car he has. But man, Ty Dillon, you need to watch out, buddy.
Bad luck almost came back. Or continued. It hasn't gone away necessarily yet. But Larson, uh, in position so far to be a winning contender every week, and has had something go wrong. Nearly had that happen there, but he's kind of struggling here with JJ Yaley, and that's brought the 10 car right to his back bumper as they go down into 3. But now Almirola, he kind of has a bit of an issue there getting through. But Kyle Busch has really dropped off now. You see, Jay, the gap is definitely getting smaller between his brother Kurt.
Yeah, I still think that Kurt has one of the fastest cars in the field. I mean, we've seen him have the fastest lap so far of the race, and I genuinely do think that once we see this restart for stage 2, we may see him take off and make a challenge for Larson and Almirola. It wouldn't surprise me if he does at all. And Harvick also is making his way up as well. He was 10th before this long run started, and now that we've gone into the long run, he's slowly made his way up. So he's another guy that we all expect to be fast, and on the long run, he certainly is showing that he's fast.
And now, just as we look back, Hamlin, we saw him pass Bubba Wallace. Now he's moving up the inside of Daniel Suarez. So Hamlin is going to be the first car to be missing out on stage points. But Jay, honestly, I wouldn't count out a guy like Denny. He was in traffic, so we really don't know what speed he's got. But I think he's been one of the best cars all day so far in stage 1 in terms of working their way through traffic.
Yeah, he didn't get a great qualifying position, so it's a little bit of a disadvantage here for him in stage 1. But starting in 11th, if he can stay in that position for stage 2, I certainly think we'll see him gain some ground here and get some stage points and potentially make a run at least for a top 5, if not for maybe the lead at some point in this race. Because I mean, we know how good Denny Hamlin is, and we know how competitive he gets towards the end of these races. So just watch for him to not make any mistakes, and if he can go without making mistakes, then obviously I think we'll see Hamlin run pretty well here.
I think the main four I'm watching right now, of course, Larson, Almirola. Actually, I say main five: Larson, Almirola, but Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Denny Hamlin. Because we're looking at Harvick moving his way forward. He just passed Ryan Blaney, but Blaney's actually going to try and attack back to the left-hand side, but gets cleared by the time they go into three. But he's already putting pressure on the back of Brad Keselowski. By the way, we are getting close to the final lap here of stage one. Just 2 laps to go. And Jay, we look at what's just ahead of Larson. This definitely could come down to lap traffic to decide this first stage.
Yeah, BJ McLeod here is potentially going to be in the way big time here for Larson, and hopefully he can get past them as easy as he did the other two, maybe without contact this time at Ty Dillon. But to go back to Harvick's pass there for a moment, I believe if I saw things correctly, I'm pretty sure he passed Blaney on the outside, which is something that we don't expect here at all. So if he truly did pass Blaney on the outside, and I think he's got around Keselowski now
Yes,
too.
he did. Just did.
So he's really charging here towards the end, and man, we could really see him be a charger towards the front here in the start of stage 2.
Down the back for the final time in stage one. Larson won stage two, I believe it was. Yes, last week in Las Vegas over Kevin Harvick. Well, he's going to back that up with a stage one victory right on the back of the 52 of Josh Bilicki. Kyle Larson wins stage one here at Phoenix Raceway. Now, as Eric Almirola gets second place, there is one danger that we have noticed here is the pit lane. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody has trouble with that, and we really hope no one does now as we come through heading into the pit lane. With everybody separated like this, it should be a little more better now as Kyle Busch comes in. And yeah, okay, so far so good here. Everybody coming into the pit lane, but you see the top 10 rounded out by Tyler Reddick. But Jay, overall, we saw the key drivers: Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch. They were the only ones that we really saw able to make some key passes there in traffic. So I look at those guys to be the biggest contenders to the 10 and the 5.
Yeah, especially Harvick there at the end. He came out of
He was
nowhere
on a
and was hard
charge.
charging, and yeah, he probably could have gotten past Kurt Busch within another lap or two. He showed some real speed there towards the end. So I think it was a little bit surprising to see him kind of struggling there at the start, but he definitely had it together right there towards the end. So either he's just got a very extreme long run car, or something he just found something there towards the end, and they can make adjustments here and keep that speed in the car, and we'll probably see him competing for the win today. I have no doubt about that.
And the race off of the pit lane, Larson, Almirola, of course, P1, P2, Kyle Busch, and Jay, look, Kevin Harvick. He gets Kurt Busch beat off. Kurt Busch has a terrible pit stop. I don't even see him out of the pit box yet. He's still in his pit box. Wow.
Something has gone very wrong there for Kurt. I don't know if he had some kind of damage he needed to get fixed, or if they had a gun failure or what, but something went very, very wrong there. He's back there with Alex Bowman.
A lot of time
That is
lost.
not good for Kurt at all.
Down to 24th at least. I think it's actually, yep, 24th. So he goes from 4th, loses 20 positions there on the pit lane. So very bad for Kurt Busch now. Chase Elliott, an example of a driver that had a very rough stage one there, as you see the rest of the order on your screen. So we got Gragson up front. He actually had some trouble that we saw him pit earlier. And clearly there's some damage on the back of that car. But we're going to go to a quick break here from Phoenix. Surprisingly, no caution replays to show you guys at the end of stage one. So we'll be back in time for the start of stage two. Back from Phoenix here for the start of stage two. William Byron having issues before we come to the green flag. You see him in the distance there, coming to the pit lane. We're not sure exactly what the issue is, but once we get confirmation, we will have an update on that if we do get any info back here. But we got about a handful, 5 lap cars here that are going to be in the mix for the start. So Jay, this is if we're going to see a crash here today, this is exactly where we're going to see it.
Especially with 5 lap cars right there and being slow, and with Gregson having damage, and I think a couple other.
And they're going crazy themselves.
So, yeah, I expect something probably to happen here. If it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to happen right here and right now. With Ty Dillon almost making contact again. I think Harvick might have had a little bit of slight contact back there, but man, these guys are in the way big time here.
Quinn Halfie does not want to move, and we've seen a history of him not wanting to move. I am surprised they've already gone this far. And honestly, they might be okay here. We just got to give it a few laps now. Almirola got through. Of course, Larson, a tremendous restart for him, but we're about to be 4, maybe even 5 wide. Oh, boy. into turns 1 and 2, and you see some contact right there, but somehow no crashes yet here as we exit turns 2. I don't know, Jay, how they're pulling this one off.
This is incredible to watch, and incredible has a whole lot of meanings there. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Incredible to see these guys not wrecking, but
Kyle
also
Busch,
incredible
by
to
the
see these
way.
lap cars just staying in the way.
Elliott on the
And
pit lane, off of the pit lane.
oh, that's rough for Hendrick so far. Aside from Larson, everybody from Hendrick today is struggling so far. But goodness gracious, these guys are just causing a mess. They're
Kyle
still in the
Busch
way.
has lost about 20 positions since the restart. And, oh my goodness, the 17 sent it up the inside of the 11. Hamlin, all those positions that he gained there at the end of stage 1, completely lost now as he's stuck behind the 62 of Gregson. But look at these guys spread all over the place as they came
You
through
know how this has
the...
benefited. Look at Ballman. He's almost up to the
Oh,
top 10 now.
4 wide. Kurt Busch
Oh
is
no.
forcing the issue.
Oh, this is not going to work.
They make it work.
Wow,
Wow.
they kept it clean. I didn't expect that at all.
This
You
is
see
an,
four
I
wide
mean,
off the corner like
wow.
that with somebody going low, you'd always expect them to
Right
push
here.
somebody into the wall. Ooh.
I mean, you look
Man,
at a
these
guy like
guys are
Hamlin.
just...
He's got to be frustrated at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Him and Kyle Busch both just getting royally
Oh
screwed over
boy.
by these lap cars here.
These guys are not laying back. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it.
Wow. I am astounded that they haven't wrecked yet. I'm dumbfounded.
Key words there for you hear from Jay's yet. But now they're calming down a little bit, so we might be okay here. We're gonna get an idea of what's going on back up front, by the way. So Kyle Larson still leads by 7/10 just about over Eric Almirola. So he's doing a good job now. Is DeBenedetto Jay up to P3, having a good run today? Is actually I see some trouble in the back. There it is. Oh, big hit for Chase Elliott.
Oh
Alfredo.
no, that's not what you want to see.
Noah Gregson,
Oh.
Josh Balicki, and Eric Jones destroyed in out as the caution is going to come out here. I mean, that benefits a guy like William Byron if he can have enough speed in the car to get back on the lead lap and have a rightly timed caution. But very unfortunate here now as the pace car finds himself inside of other cars. Now, as we're just hoping nobody runs into the back of each other. So far, they're okay. Looks like they will be okay here. As I see the 14, by the way, coming down to the pit lane there. Not sure what's going on there, but a big incident here at the beginning of stage 2. And Jay, just when I thought we were kind of calming down and we're okay in the clear, well, then they go crashing.
I'm gonna guess it had to still do with lap cars, and it looked like it did because I saw Hoff involved there. So I have no idea what happened yet, but man, that's Chase Elliott getting... I don't know what happened to him on the restart, but obviously he's caught up behind this entire field, and including those slow lap cars, and he just gets involved in what I'm guessing is something that he had no control over. And there was someone else involved in that wreck that I can't remember, who was also a big name, but wow, I mean, we said that we would probably see something happen here on this restart, and we were right.
And we're going to get a look at it right now, but just before the replay. So the 52, the 38, the 43, the 9, and the 62. 5 cars right there, DNF after that incident. So Gregson, Elliott, very unfortunate for Chase Elliott there. A very strong contender when it comes to the Cup Series, of course, being the most recent champion. But we're going to get a look at what just happened here in Phoenix with that incident at the back of the field. A look at Eric Jones, who got turned off the front bumper of Michael McDowell right there out of turns 2, and then he comes back up the track and gets nailed by Chase Elliott there. Brendan Gaughan, or sorry, not Brendan Gaughan, Gregson piles in, and so does Anthony Alfredo, and then, of course, a few other back markers like Josh Balicki there. But unfortunate all around here, Jay, as I didn't see that coming there for the 9 of Elliott. I mean, he just came off the pit lane for something that we were unaware of, and then he finds himself in trouble down the back.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate for him. Just had nowhere to go with the spinning Eric Jones sliding up right back in front of him and collecting him and a lot of other guys in a pretty hard contact there. Gregson's got a lot of damage. Alfredo, whoever in the world is in the 52, because I don't even know who's
Balicki.
on the roster for Rick Ware at this point. But yeah, that's a lot of damage to a lot of guys here. But hopefully they retire and don't stay on the track like we had last week, and we have a bunch of guys very slow and ruining this. When I went, oh, okay, I won't say ruining, but very slow and affecting this race.
Can confirm those drivers all have actually retired from the race, so they should not be or will not be an issue here for the rest of this race, thank goodness, in Phoenix now. So Kyle Larson still out front over Eric Almirola here in Phoenix now as we come through out of turns. So I'm just going to make sure we're not going green this time, and if not, we will go to a quick break and come back for the start here. Or restart, I should say, now as the pace car comes to the line and the lights stay on. So we are going to go to a quick break here and send you guys off with a quick look at the onboard camera of Michael McDowell, who ignited that big incident here in Phoenix Raceway. Back from Phoenix here. We got 4 cars lined up on the inside, not 5 because Gregson has DNF'd from the race here. But Jay, I mean, we saw the chaos there that happened, and to our surprise, it wasn't lap traffic that caused that crash. But here we are with these guys once again in the mix. We could definitely see that change.
Ryan Blaney, man, he got one heck of a restart there, but too bad for him. He's going to immediately get held up by these lap cars. But yeah, I think we could definitely see that change, especially since Quinn Hoff now, he definitely does have some damage since he was involved in that last wreck. But man, Blaney is not one to wait around. He saw what happened to Kyle Busch and a couple other guys, and he does not want to have that happen to him. As Ty Dillon is going to sit in the way again of these guys, man. Lap cars are just, they truly do affect these races.
Look at Quinn Hoff. That is shocking.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there with the 00. That's, I mean, there's no way. Like he's got to be holding these guys up. There's no way.
That's potentially the most speed I've ever seen out of that 00 car. Now is Ty Dillon right in the middle there. But you mentioned
Look
Jay.
At Bowman up into the top 10.
Exactly. He's working his way up, kind of finding himself in the right place at the right time.
He's the one who benefited from most from all those issues. But I guarantee once we see guys like Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, I think Harvick's right there. I'm blind. I think we'll see, him probably fall back out of the top 10 because a lot of the guys who were ahead of him are now behind him due to lap cars being in the way.
Kurt, he's been
to get lucky and get around them.
He's been working his way through slowly but surely. I mean, Kurt's actually running better than Hamlin and Kyle Busch even right now, and he got sent 20 spots behind those guys at the end of stage 1. So Bubba Wallace, he's kind of another driver that's kind of not benefited very well from this situation, but Bowman doing a good job there. Now we're finally seeing Quinn Hoff drop. But Jay, we got Matt DiBenedetto back up here in P3, putting a little bit of pressure actually on the back of the 10 of Almirola, and now we have an updated fastest lap times. Ryan Blaney has put in the fastest time with Reddick in second, but Kurt Busch down to fourth. Bowman just put in the 3rd fastest lap of the day, Jay, and all of a sudden, he might be proving us wrong here. Didn't get stage points in stage 1, didn't run good at all, but now look at him. He's actually putting pressure on the back of the 8.
These guys must have made some adjustments on pit stops. Him and DiBenedetto must have made some big adjustments because DiBenedetto wasn't running terrible, but he wasn't running great either, especially not 3rd place. And Bowman, I mean, we saw him down in the 20s. So obviously, I mean, I know he gained a lot of spots from lap cars being in the way, but man, he's certainly showing that he at least has the speed to be there. I don't know when he suddenly got into that car, but I mean, for him, that's huge with the amount of points he has. He can almost double his points right now with the way he's finishing.
I might have spoke too soon, though, because he lost a lot of time to the 8 car in the last lap. But Matt DiBenedetto up the inside of the 10 of Almirola. And Jay, we saw what Almirola was able to do to Larson. He was able to be right there on him, but couldn't pass him. But DiBenedetto clearly has more speed right now than the 10. He might be able to be the one to look at to go up there and pass Kyle Larson for the lead.
I'll be shocked if DiBenedetto actually keeps this speed throughout this entire run. I don't see this happening out of this car, at least not when they start the race showing like to have terrible speed like they did. And I mean, if they made adjustments on that car, then I'll shut my mouth and obviously be wrong. But I just don't think you'll have the pace over the long run to keep this up. I truly think that it may just be a case of short run speed at the moment. And I was thinking going back to our point, right? Wow, as Reddick is now getting past Almirola, and so did Blaney. But to go back to our point about Bowman had a fast lap there, one thing I didn't think of is that was their first chance for these guys to get an adjustment in. And a lot of the guys that were extremely fast in stage 1 right now are stuck behind guys who are slower than them, and they have to get around them. So it could be why that we're seeing Bowman having a fast lap and running this good, because others are stuck behind or not really lap traffic, but stuck in traffic right now and not able to run the laps that they showed that they were able to run in stage 1.
You got Blaney now putting pressure on that left-hand side there of Matt DiBenedetto. Keep in mind, stage 2 comes to an end at the end of lap 100, going into lap 101. I'm honestly surprised, even when these guys get battling side by side for second place, Jay, where we really haven't seen a lead over half a second. And I feel like Larson, with the car he has, he should have been able to do that by now.
Yeah, especially with these guys being side by side, like you said, when they are side by side like that, they are at a huge disadvantage with the way the line is here. And I'll agree. I think it's surprising to not see him pulling away, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he's just kind of saving his stuff right now, seeing those guys racing behind him too wide and knowing he doesn't have to go as hard as he can right now. Maybe he's just backing off that much to not ruin his tires and have that much more speed, or have some more speed for the end of the run. So I'm not too sure what's going on with Larson's car right now, but I mean, obviously he's still leading and not getting destroyed. So I have to think he's just managing this race and doing whatever he needs to stay in the lead.
I mean, and you look down the field a little bit further. Daniel Suarez, we talked about Harvick on the long run, moving his way through the field, but now he's actually under attack from Daniel Suarez there into turns one. So, I mean, we're seeing a good showing, Jay, from this Trackhouse team. They've definitely, so far, blown 23-11 out of the water in most of these races. I mean, they're only about 6-7 spots behind Suarez right now, but that 99 team clearly showing that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and maybe we could look at them as a potential playoff team in just their first season.
I was really, really not expecting much out of this team to start the season. I kind of, if there was one team that I was looking at that had a really big question mark over them, it was Trackhouse because, I mean, they're an absolute brand new team that doesn't have much funding from anywhere. I think they have RCR backing, but that's about it. So to see them right now running as well as they are, I did not expect this out of this team, at least especially not 5 races into the season, and I especially didn't expect to see them running consistently better than 23XI. But to go back to that point again, I really think it's just all about growing pains right now with that team, and I think they'll certainly get a lot better as the season moves on.
Kurt Busch has already climbed himself back into the top 10 there, passing the 22 of Logano, who's trying to put a little bit of pressure on him there as we go down the back into turns 3. But Kyle Larson continues to lead the way as we kind of go through the field here. Hamlin trying to recover a lot of those lost spots, and the same for his teammates of Kyle Busch. And yeah, another driver that right off the bat catches my eye, Jay, Martin Truex Jr. really hasn't been much of a threat this season other than last week at the end of that Las Vegas race. He out of nowhere came into the picture for the win late, and then lap traffic kind of messed him over. But he's been kind of a sleeper this season. We really haven't seen a lot from him.
We haven't seen really a lot out of any JGR guys this season. I mean, we've seen Kyle Busch have the speed every now and then he gets involved in a wreck, and Hamlin has shown speed so far, but Christopher Bell, not really much out of him, and Truex, another guy, like you were just mentioning there, we haven't seen much out of him either, which I think is probably the most surprising one. We know Kyle Busch even had struggles last season, so maybe seeing him struggle this year is still not that much that surprising to me. But yeah, Truex is one that so far I'm surprised to see him struggling. But man, Bowman, he's just continuing to run there in the top 10. I really did not expect this out of him.
Now he's putting a little bit of pressure here and there on the back of the 8. But once again, now that these tires are wearing, it's getting a lot harder to complete passes. So, I mean, either way, 6th place for Alex Bowman, the way his season's gone so far, and even stage 1 today, this is a great run for that Hendrick driver. And currently, the second best Hendrick driver in the field is Elliott. He's already out. Kyle Larson leads the way, but William Byron, he pitted as the field came to the green, remained on the lead lap, but of course has a lot of work to do to work his way through here through the field to get into a solid running position. But now we've kind of really calmed down here in Phoenix. Once again, we're going to go for a very quick break and bring you to the end here of the second stage at Phoenix. Welcome back here to Phoenix Raceway. Under the break there, or during the break, Alex Bowman actually was able to pass Tyler Reddick on the inside, just in the same way that you see Kevin Harvick doing it right now. So Reddick now falling down the order a little bit as this run goes on. But Bowman, I mean, just exceeding our expectations for him today here, running up in the top 5 as Almirola's kind of falling off. And Jay, we're now seeing Bowman close in on Almirola, and honestly closing in on the front 4 drivers here. So, I mean, turning it up to say the least here in Phoenix today, he is.
I don't know where the heck he suddenly came from. We saw him running 24th or so in stage 1, and then all of a sudden now he's able to have top 5 speed. I don't really get it. Kind of the same thing with the 12 and the 21. They weren't as bad, but they certainly weren't having speed to contend with Larson. And we've seen Blaney kind of pull up on Larson, then he'll lose a couple tenths, then he'll pull up again, then he'll lose a couple tenths. So I'm not too sure where in the world these guys found the speed, but man, it came out of nowhere, and they're showing that they can be competitive all of a sudden.
Now, serious question here. I don't know if you know the answer, because I sure don't. But can the AI make adjustments on the pit lane in this game?
I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to assume yes. I would expect that to be a thing. Uh, I mean, why wouldn't it be? But officially, I don't know.
I mean, it certainly seems like it. I mean, look at the 48. I mean, he drove by the 4 car, and drove by the 8, who were destroying him on pace in stage 1. So clearly, it seems like it now. As Kyle Larson, with less than 10 laps to go here in stage 2, continues to lead the way. So far, Jay, honestly, this has been a calm race. This is the calmest race of the season so far that we've had, which has been a bit of a surprise considering how crazy these restarts are. But, I mean, of course, we still have one stage to go. Do you think it's going to remain the same in that final stage, or do you think we're going to see something wild happen?
I think we'll see kind of the same thing that happened with the start of stage two. We'll probably see the start of stage three have at least one wreck, if not more. These restarts, as we have mentioned several times today, the restarts are just absolutely insane. Nothing happens once they get strung out, but on the restarts, these guys are going for it, and they have fresh tires to make all kinds of sorts of moves, and so I would expect them, especially in stage three, where we're getting towards the end of this race, when you know that you can really only make moves on the restart and it's really hard to pass after, you'll see these guys get really aggressive and probably make some mistakes. And it wouldn't surprise me if we see some wrecks start happening.
And a lot of broadcast time for a driver like Kyle Larson, who currently, in reality, is unsponsored here with a Hendrick sponsor on his car. But Jay proving that he can get the job done here. I mean, he's doing nothing but helping himself today to potential to pick up some sponsors.
And lucky for him, this time while having a lot of speed and being able to lead laps, he's actually not having to navigate through lap cars that much. It's only really when we get on a 50 lap run or so, like we saw in stage one, right towards the end when he was having to deal with lap cars. So luckily for him, so far, I don't want to jinx it, and I probably just did, but he hasn't had to deal with lap cars so far. And we've seen so far when he doesn't have to deal with lap cars, he's clearly fast and can dominate the race and run the and manage the race the way that he wants to, and do everything and anything and everything he wants with the race.
Cole Custer must have come to the pit lane when we didn't notice. He's now a lap down. That is the Miami winner, so it doesn't matter for him. He's already locked in the playoffs, of course. But something happened there with that car. But now with just a few laps to go here in stage 2, and Jay, I think Larson's proving just how hard it's going to be to pass the leader, because he doesn't really have the fastest car, but these guys just can't pass him. We know the 12 is probably the fastest one here, but he can't find a way around.
Yeah, I really do think that Blaney suddenly, out of nowhere, does have the fastest car. He's tried to make moves on Larson a couple times, and it's just nothing works. You can't make anything work here unless you stick your nose into the inside of that guy in front of you. So I don't really know if Blaney's going to be able to make any kind of moves here happen before the end of stage two. But one thing that wouldn't surprise me is if we go into stage three and he makes something happen right off the restart, and we maybe see him take a challenge to the lead, and maybe take the lead away from Larson here if he truly does have the better car.
Kurt Busch going at it for the final stage spot right now with Logano, as Larson comes through with 2 laps to go here in the second stage at Phoenix. So, I mean, he has led every lap so far pretty much here in this race as he goes down the back straight away. A lap and a half to go in stage 2. Blaney, he might have a chance to do something. He dives it into 3. Close there, about half a car length between the two of them as Larson starts the final lap. And actually, this is the closest Blaney's been here in a minute. Jay is now within range to maybe sneak up the inside, but nope, not going to happen there. Larson defends, but right here is where we want to look out of turns 2, but it's not going to be enough as they go down the back. Yep, Larson holds him off here.
Remember to type in chat.
Oh, yes, we got to do that right now on this final lap. Thank goodness Jay just mentioned that as they come through. Out of turns 4, Kyle Larson wins stage 2. Now as the pace car comes out, thank goodness we got that just in time, as it's going to be the 22, I think, of Logano. No, Denny Hamlin got the last stage point right there at the end. He passed the 17, the 1, and the 22 by the time we got to the final lap and to the end of stage 2. So Hamlin gets the final stage spot. And Jay, we looked at a driver like Hamlin earlier. He got held way back from the lap traffic at the beginning of stage 1, and it took him that whole stage to work himself back to the top 10.
Very, very good rebound from Hamlin there. I don't know if I didn't think I would. Let me restart that. I didn't see him getting stage points at all after the way that stage 2 started, and the same thing for Kurt Busch. I didn't even expect him to be around the top 10, but that just goes to show how fast their cars are and how good they are here today. They just need to not have that happen again, and maybe they'll go back up here and inside the top 10 and make their way up to the top 5. And who knows, we get a late race restart, and maybe we can see them challenge for the win. So. I really am. The biggest thing I'm looking for here for this restart is if Blaney does have the fastest car, if he can make something happen, and if we'll finally see someone other than Larson lead this race today.
Well, Larson wins the race off of the pit lane, so he's already done the first part. But Blaney's second, Benedetto third, Almirola there fourth, and Alex Bowman rounds out the top 5. Hamlin actually loses a few positions there on the pit lane to Suarez and whatnot, but beats the 22 out. But now, of course, before we go green here for the start of the third and final stage of the night at Phoenix Raceway, we are once again going to go to a quick break and bring you guys back to the end of this race here with now less than 100 laps to go from Phoenix Raceway. Welcome back here at Phoenix Raceway for the start of the third and final stage. You see the 41 leading the field. He is not leading the race, so this is going to get a very interesting start thrown at us now, where Kyle Larson right now is that everything go right. This right here is where I look at everything could go wrong.
If he can get by Quinn Hoff here really quickly and get to the inside of Custer, then it may not be... Oh, that's not good!
Matt DiBenedetto, that's the big one.
Almirola smacking the wall too.
Oh, and we got to race back to the line here, so so far so good. But Matt DiBenedetto, a big incident for him as the caution comes out as they exit turns 4. They get to the line safely there, as I saw the 48 pick up a little bit of damage there as well. But I don't think it's going to affect Bowman too much. But finally, Jay, or I don't know if it's finally, I don't know if we wanted it to happen, but now things start to kick off here with a big contender. 2 big contenders running in the top 5 get taken out there. As actually Kyle Larson is coming to the pit lane, and everybody's staying out.
Wow. He may have just thrown his race away. I'm puzzled by this decision.
They might be reporting a loose wheel or something on that car.
Either a loose wheel, maybe they think they can make it from here if they put a little bit extra gas in the car. Damage maybe we don't know about. I'm unsure.
And
as I forget to turn that off. But wow. And also, you know, we were just talking about before the stage 2 ended that with stage 3 we could potentially see, you know, the wreck start happening, and well,
here we go.
It took one corner.
That was a very quick stop.
Larson?
Kyle Larson having a few issues here. We'll come back to that. He's trying to throw it in reverse. Kyle Larson having a few issues. I hope no one has to come in the pit lane. Oh, no.
Oh, buddy.
Wow.
Oh, no.
I believe Kyle Larson's season will continue. He has damage on the front of that car, it looks like. Wow. Jay, Kyle Larson.
Puzzling, baffling, confusing, frustrating. All the things that I'm sure are going through Larson's head right now.
And Ryan Blaney leads over Kevin Harvick after that. We have a view and a replay of what just happened here with that incident here at Phoenix Raceway to start off stage 3. Restarts certainly are always expected to be crazy here at Phoenix, and that's what happens here between 2 lap cars. The McLeod and Dillon, they wash up into the 21 of DiBenedetto, take him out. The 10 gets involved after hitting the 48 as well of Alex Bowman, and well, we saw Eric Almirola, pick up some damage, and so did Alex Bowman. But Jay, overall, very unfortunate, especially for DiBenedetto, who's had just a very rough season, being in that wrong place at the wrong time.
That was extremely in the wrong place in the wrong time. I'm not too sure what BJ McLeod was thinking there when he just full sent it into turn 1 after just having a restart. But yeah, that was something to see. We've certainly seen these lap guys cause issues so far for the leaders, and it continues so far today in Phoenix. Is that little mistake just took out at least one top 5 contender, if not two, in Almirola and DiBenedetto.
Back to the live scene, you see Almirola still on track, and so is Matt Benedetto. Of course, they got damage. It'll be interesting to see what pace they have here for the rest of the race. And I'm most interested to see what in the world this Hendrick Motorsports 5 car with Kyle Larson behind the wheel is going to do here, Jay. I mean, I myself don't know about that call, but they, of course, might know something we don't. But they, at the same time, maybe had some issue with maybe thinking of a loose wheel, or, of course, just strategy based, maybe thinking they pit here, they can make it to the end, and everybody has to pit and they don't, which could be the winning call.
I highly doubt. We've both speculated before and we've been wrong, but this time I think I'm right. I highly doubt that they can make it to the end from here. So there had to have been some kind of issue with that car that we just don't know about. Either, like you say, a loose wheel, or maybe some kind of damage that he got off of the restart. But yeah, very very questionable call. And I'm also kind of curious what kind of damage he got there from trying to turn around on pit road and
He didn't
slapping
bring
that
it
pit wall a
back,
bit.
so he
So
stayed out.
I mean, I'm overall confused at what the thinking there was from that 5 team. That was something else to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the wheel it's disconnected, and he just kind of got stuck there. Now Zoo will be going green this time by, and all of a sudden, Jay, things have been completely changed. We have two top 5 drivers from stage 2 get wiped out there. They're still in the race, but at the back of the pack will likely be down on horsepower. And then Kyle Larson, who's dominated, led pretty much every lap, comes into the pit lane. So now all of a sudden it's Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, the top 5 here. I mean, we saw in the lap times there, the 12 as the fastest lap. I think this is the opportunity right here for Ryan Blaney to all of a sudden come out of nowhere and potentially run away with a victory if he doesn't get taken out.
I really expect, honestly, I expect Harvick to go at him here and potentially pull away here and go and grab this lead. Because, I mean, we know how good Harvick is at Phoenix, and we saw how good he was in stage 1 at least. So this is his best chance. With now Larson being gone and a couple other guys that were in the top 5 in front of him being gone out of the way, he's really got to go at Blaney here and get the lead if he wants to win this race.
That'd be 3 wins on the season already if Harvick pulls this off now as we're back underway here. Now for the final 79 laps at Phoenix. Will they get chaotic here in turns 1? We're about to find out now as Blaney is slow. Hold up. Oh, I saw the 00. Send it off into the corner. It's going to be 3 wide on the exit of turns 2 now down the back straightaway. Harvick has to get clear as quickly as possible here as they go down into turn 3. This is going to be a danger zone right here, but it looks like this time we're going to keep it clean now as Keselowski's on that far outside, kind of getting held up here now as they go down this front straightaway. Jay, we look at a guy like Alex Bowman, now looking to be outside of the top 10 after that. So he did so much to work his way forwards, and now here he is falling outside of the top 10.
Yeah, the good karma that he got in stage 1 where he was able to pass all these guys having the issues, well, now he's getting the bad side of it where he's now the one stuck behind all these guys, and Denny Hamlin and Kurt Busch are going past him. So I'm sure that Hamlin and Kurt Busch are happy to be getting around this mess right now, and Bowman's still stuck behind a lap car, so I'm sure he's upset and very mad about that, knowing the kind of season he's had so far, and knowing the speed that he's had today where he needs to have a good run, and he's had the speed to do it. He just needs to get back around a lot of these guys that just passed him, though.
I saw some
Yeah,
contact.
Suarez also was in the top 5, and he got really held up, too, so
Yeah,
this
Suarez.
has been really unfortunate for him as well.
There was some contact there between, I think it was the 8 and another lapped car. It might have been Quinn Half or something like that. But they kept it clean. Suarez, he didn't lose as much, of course, as Bowman. Actually, Bowman does remain in the top 10 by 1 spot. But now, under attack from his Hendrick teammate, Jay, we saw William Byron come out of the pit lane at the start of stage 1, or start of stage 2, sorry, and was sent all the way to the back of the field because of that. And here he is working his way back up into the top 10. I see trouble behind, though, as we mentioned that. The caution is going to come out. Oh, it's Cole Custer and BJ McLeod, and I see the Larson and DiBenedetto get through there. But we saw the 7 as well involved. Wow.
Larson and DiBenedetto just went full Days of Thunder there and just said, I'm just going to send it and go high. And it barely worked for him, but glad that it did.
They didn't back out.
I'm assuming that Almirola is ahead of these guys, so obviously he may have been able. Yeah, he's 1 spot ahead. So I don't know how. Well, that's not what you want to see. I don't know how Larson and DiBenedetto fell so far back, but my immediate guess maybe would be they got held up behind somebody who had damage or something like that. But
we got some cars down the pit
greatest. Lane. Yeah, we do.
Kyle Busch, notable. Keselowski, by the way, it's hard to get it, of course, with the way this works right here. But I saw Brad Keselowski on the pit lane. But the main leaders have stayed out for the most part here. But and notice there, what I noticed there, when that caution came out, Kyle Larson was kind of late to the party to get to that incident. Jay, I don't know,
Yeah, that's
maybe
what
if
I
he was off the
was. That's
pace.
yeah, that was something I was bringing up.
Uh,
I don't know if they got held behind somebody who had damage or what, but I was gonna say not the kind of restart you want to see for Larson and DeBenedetto and Almirola too. Not really making up any spots there when they need to take advantage of these restarts as much as they can, because once they get going and spread out, we've seen how tough it is to pass. So they have to make it up quick and fast, and I don't know what held them up there, but I'm guessing that something did.
and quickly running out of time to make that happen now. So two cautions back to back now as we're going to get a look at what just happened there with BJ McLeod. It looked like he got turned around down the back straightaway. For the second time today, Michael McDowell has actually turned somebody out of turn two right here, and there you see him hook the 78 of McLeod, the 3 of Austin Dillon nearly into it, and Custer and the 7 of LaJoy come hauling into there. And we noticed the 5 and the 21 a little bit behind the picture, and we were wondering why they were there or so far disconnected. Well, we have found exactly why that has happened. So Kyle Larson and Matt DiBenedetto both here, this is I think the second lap after the restart, they both decide to come into the pit lane here out of turn 2. Larson gave up the lead at the end of stage 2 and just did it again. Or, well, not just gave up the lead again, but just came back to the pit lane along with the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto. I mean, Jay, the 21's a little bit understandable, but the 5, I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what either of them doing. I mean, I would think maybe for DiBenedetto it would be damage, but they both only stay in their box for a couple of seconds, 3 or 4 seconds at the most. So I mean, I don't know. I'm straight up baffled. I mean, I don't know. I genuinely have no explanation.
And there you see the 5, yet they both had the same length stop, and they end up both going one lap down, pretty much handing their races away, especially for Kyle Larson, who has dominated this race here today at Phoenix Raceway. And now, myself and Jay, we were mentioning earlier about Larson having this or just competitive speed week after week to potentially win these races as you see them coming into the incident. And Larson's found a way to lose it every week, and here it is today, Jay. But this time it was his own fault throwing this race away.
I'm thinking there's some kind of team strategy going on here that we don't know about, or I mean, maybe they just had really bad. Their last 2 pit stops have been really bad. Maybe they've had loose wheels each time. Other than that, I can't really think of why they would be doing this. As you see, they get a little bit of damage there because DiBenedetto didn't use his brakes well enough, so that's a little bit worse for both of them. But I genuinely have no idea. The only thing I can think of is maybe both of them having loose wheels.
It could be potentially the reason. I saw the 51, I believe, actually hit the back of the 10 as well. He's got some damage on the front of his car. Back to the live scene though here in Phoenix. We are going to go for a quick break and come back for the restart now as the laps continue to wind down and drivers stuck in the back because of being held up continue to run out of time here in Phoenix. Welcome back here to Phoenix Raceway. Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, your top 3. Denny Hamlin and Chris Busch are finding themselves in the top 5 now all of a sudden as we're getting ready to go back green. A few notables on the inside line for this restart. Kyle Larson as well as Matt DiBenedetto, who came into the pit lane there as we're back underway now. But Jay, this race has been completely turned around as you see, and Larson not holding back whatsoever. But I mean, I still feel like Ryan Blaney at this point with the circumstances is clearly the favorite.
Yeah, so far it looks like it currently or certainly is, but I would say that once we get going here and everything gets sorted out, I really still look for Harvick to be the guy to look for. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We know how good he is here, and obviously SHR has shown to be extremely, extremely good this season. And with Larson basically handing this race away, I would think Kevin Harvick is going to be the one to take advantage of that and try and go and get him another win here.
I mean, and with the rules of NR2003, do you see any way for Kyle to even get himself back into the mix on the lead lap and make anything happen?
The only way I see that happening is if he gets himself around Blaney here, which I mean he has the speed to do, But I don't think it's going to happen at this point with how far he's already fallen back. I just think that even where he's at right now is too far for him to gain. But if he gets himself around Blaney, he'll restart in front of the leaders, and then if he can stay in front of the leaders and they get another early caution, he'll then be put back around to the back of the lead lap cars, and where he should be. So it's possible, but it's highly unlikely. I think he's pretty much going to be stuck a lap down for the rest of this race and basically finish wherever he is right now.
So two cautions at the minimum is what he's going to need. He's actually worked himself into P3 on track, of course, in the actual running order. He's down in 27th place, the first car lap down, but no lucky dogs in NR 2003, just because that's the way it was in real life. But he's putting a lot of pressure, Jay, on these guys. So he clearly, if he somehow gets extremely lucky, like you said, gets in front of these guys, gets a caution, restarts in front of them, gets another quick caution, even then, though, there would not be a lot of time for him to work his way through the pack. So, I mean, clearly, I think we can write off a guy like Larson at this point. But, I mean, Logano, who we really haven't paid attention to, he was scrapping it out with Denny Hamlin for the final stage point in stage 2. Here he is, putting a lot of pressure on the back of his Penske teammate. And, Jay, we've seen Logano win at this track before. I believe it was 2018, if I remember correctly. So he knows how to get it done here.
Yeah, he certainly does. And, I mean, we haven't seen him be up here up front all day yet, but given the opportunity and given the space to be up here up front, he's going to take advantage of that and go at his teammate here and try and grab the lead. But I mean, we've already seen these top 3 guys, and I guess technically 4 guys pull away from the rest of the field. So I think at the moment these guys are the fastest that are on track, and maybe Denny Hamlin too once he gets himself a little bit clear of these guys. And so I think we'll probably still see, in my opinion, Harvick run these guys back down. And once they go in the long run, I mean, we saw how fast Harvick was on the long run in stage 1. If he still has that long run speed compared to these guys, if we can go green here to the end, I think we'll see Harvick win this race. I'm sticking by that.
Looks like he's starting to reel in the 5 of Larson a little bit. As of now, though, Logano has actually put up the fastest lap of anybody. Blaney's second. Kurt Busch still up there towards that top 3. So we know that one car has a lot of speed. Harvick's with the 10th fastest lap is Kyle Larson. Makes a move up the inside of Joey Logano. That was kind of catching me off guard. I was about to mention now how they were kind of settling in and how hard it was going to be to make any passes. But at the same time, Jay, for Ryan Blaney, this is exactly what you like to see. He's going to have now kind of a blockade between him and the next car position-wise.
I don't know if he hates to see that or likes to see it. I think he probably hates to see it because if Larson gets around Logano, the next person Larson has to go after is him. And I don't think Larson's going to waste any time here getting to Blaney and potentially getting around him. And if he does, that might leave the door open for Logano to take advantage and follow Larson right through and take advantage of the inside line and get the lead. So I'm not too sure if Blaney likes seeing that happen because now, I mean, there's no way that Larson doesn't go and attack him here.
We'll have to wait and see what happens. Denny Hamlin has actually caught Kevin Harvick, gotten up into the mix, and Harvick is catching Joey Logano. So Hamlin clearly got some speed here late in this race now, as Logano, of course, no opportunity right now to put any attack on Ryan Blaney there. You see Benedetto a lap down in the way, but he's still got some decent speed behind that 21 car. Now, as William Byron, Jay, he's had an interesting recovery here now as I'm looking at the fastest lap. That's why I was confusing myself. But Byron, he's up to P6 now after being one of those drivers that kind of was similar to Larson coming to the green in stage 2. He had come to the pit lane and almost went a lap down, but now here he is rallying himself back up to P6. So clearly, Jay, there's a lot of speed in that 24 car today as well.
Yeah, he's shown to have good pace in it after he got back up to the field after excuse me, after the end of stage 2, and was able to be competitive again and pass guys. And yeah, he's looked good ever since. So I mean, I think he's a guy like Kurt Busch has shown earlier in the race to have speed. I think he just has about that same speed as Kurt Busch does. So if he can get around Dibby here, he's probably going to go and challenge maybe Reddick here for 5th. And I don't think he has the speed of Hamlin or any of those top 4 guys. So I think top 5 is probably the best Byron can hope for today. But you had the right camera angle a moment ago, and I noticed that Larson was dipping a little bit to the inside. I don't know if he's making a challenge now, but it seemed like he was close to making a challenge for Blaney, who now also has the fastest lap of the race.
Ryan Blaney, no, still second fastest. That was the race order we're looking at.
No, it was when you showed it a little bit earlier. It was the 12, then the 22. I guess they've been flip flopping back and forth, but.
Larson either
Larson's
way.
still not able to make the
Yeah,
move.
he can't make it happen. He's cutting down to the apron there. He's doing everything he can to kind of just get a little bit extra time, but can't quite make it happen there as they go down into turns one. So Blaney doing a good job right now. But you look at the back of the field, there you see the 53 car. I believe that is JJ Yaley. So he could be coming up into the mix here a little bit soon. But I was also going to mention Hendrick Motorsports overall today, other than Chase Elliott being out, they are all of their three remaining cars are up inside the top 10. Well, Kyle Larson isn't, but is still running up there. We know he has the speed to be up there. But I think, Jay, this is a good statement today, other than their mishaps, in terms of just showing the pace that that HMS team has.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we've seen them be good all season. I think at least we've seen Larson be good all season, and then the individual like Byron or Chase Elliott have good runs. We just haven't seen all four cars be in the top 10 yet, but getting close as they're going to get here today. I mean, if Larson doesn't have that issue where he's going down pit road a couple times, he's probably still leading this race right now, and all four of them are in the top 10. So actually, not all four of them. Chase Elliott's not in the top 10, but yeah, definitely good showing for them. And you were just showing there a moment ago. I noticed Kyle Busch running in third early in this race. I don't even know. I don't know exactly what position, but it's somewhere in the
17th.
20s, and it's somewhere not good. Okay, it's 17th. Never mind. But still, somewhere not good for Kyle Busch. He's not even having issues today, and he's struggling.
Well, we did see him come to the pit lane there with Kozlowski under that recent caution, and Larson's progress is about to get wiped here if that 22 is able to complete a pass down the back straight away. This is big right here for the 5 of Larson into turn 3. He actually maintains in front of the 22 car, so he's going to be okay now. Is actually, we see now Denny Hamlin, Jay, trying to put a little bit of pressure on the back of the 4 of Kevin Harvick. So, I mean, Hamlin, another driver that's won at this racetrack in the past. We definitely know he's got some decent speed towards the end of the run. We saw him go on a charge there to get stage points at the end of stage 2.
Larson's
But
going to the
that,
inside of Blaney.
yep, there he is. But he can't make it happen. He can't carry the momentum. So now it gets completely ruined down into turns 3 as Logano makes a move to the outside and leaving that door potentially wide open for Kevin Harvick here down the front straightaway. So this could be a move for second place that we see. You see him cut down on that dog leg, trying to get whatever he can as they go down into turns 1 now as Harvick's there, and sure enough, to his door out of turns 2. This could be big right here, Jay. We know that speed on the long run is pretty good in the 4 car. If he can complete this pass, he might be able to go run down that 12.
Oh yeah, I certainly think that it's probably also the start of the run or we're getting to the point in the run where Harvick's car starts to be a little bit faster than these guys. Um, we're about 20 or so laps into it, and I think that once we get towards the end of this thing, we're going to see Harvick running some really quick laps compared to these guys. And almost, I have to think almost Blaney's not going to be any kind of challenge to Harvick, because Hamlin's going to follow Harvick through as well.
And it really seems like the inside line kind of struggles on the exit of turn 2, especially. But you see Hamlin, that's not going to hold him back, though, because he challenges back out of turns 4. That 22 is falling off quite a bit here. And you're seeing the 8 of Reddick, the 24 of Byron now starting to slowly reel themselves into the mix here. But Jay, clearly, we've heard in Penske talk about it before, their struggle with long run pace. And it seems like that's starting to come into effect a little bit here.
And if it does come into effect, that you have to think that that's going to be a good thing for Larson, for him to maybe be able to find a way around Blaney. He's been looking and trying so hard for the last 4 or 5 laps, and he just can't find a way around Blaney. But if they start to struggle on the long run, we know how good Larson has been in speed all the way around, short run, long run, however long you want the run to be. Larson's always got the speed, so if he can get around Blaney here, that's going to be the best thing for him, and then he's going to have to hope for an immediate caution, and then for an immediate another caution after the restart.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be extremely lucky for Larson, and then, of course, he's going to have to try and work his way through the field again. So, and I mean, with 49 laps to go, definitely no chance for Larson to win unless something extremely crazy happens, which in NR2003, honestly, there's still time for something crazy to happen here as Hamlin completes the pass on Joey Logano. Now Tyler Reddick, he's coming into the mix. Logano going to try the crossover here. Actually, we really haven't seen this work today, but here he comes up the inside of Denny Hamlin down the front straightaway. That's a caught me off guard there now as he heads down this front stretch. Larson, I noticed there, Jay, looked to that right side. Couldn't quite make it happen there. As he just, at this point, it seems like he's just stuck behind that 12.
He's trying to find anywhere he can go, and he really can't, which I think, in my opinion, just goes to show how hard it is to pass here once you get going in a green flag run. It's really hard to get past the guy in front of you. I mean, you can say package a little bit, but I think it more just has everything to do with the way the track is, and it's just, if you're not running that one line, you're not as fast as the guy in front of you. So it's really hard to make passes here, and I genuinely don't know unless Larson just somehow has a lot better speed on the long run than Blaney does. I really genuinely don't know how he gets his lap back here.
The 23 of Bubba Wallace, he's going to move himself into the top 10, passing Alex Bowman there in the 48. That puts the both two new teams here of Trackhouse and 2311 inside the top 10 there as you see Suarez runs P9. We've seen a solid day overall for Daniel Suarez there in that Trackhouse Camaro as Larson continues to try something but can't quite make anything happen here now as we come through down the back straightaway on lap 143. We're going to go through one more time into a quick break here from Phoenix Raceway and come back and bring you guys to the finish of this race. Back from Phoenix here during the break, Joey Logano, we saw him get passed by Harvick and Hamlin. He repassed Denny Hamlin, and then while we were on break, he actually passed Kevin Harvick. So he moved back up into P2 here now as we have some lap traffic coming into the mix for the first time in since stage one. It's going to be interesting to see how the leader of Ryan Blaney deals with this now. Jay, we've seen in the past Ryan Blaney have chances to win races and has kind of had some things, and I'm talking about real life, where he's thrown them away. And now here he is leading in the late stages of this race. Could we potentially see him throw another one away as Kyle Larson looks up the inside?
This is Larson's biggest chance. This is what I was sitting here looking at. I was thinking to myself, while we're seeing them coming up on the 53, this is Larson's best chance. If he can get to the inside of the 53 here while Blaney's stuck behind him, which he doesn't, that may give Blaney the run back here off of turn 4. Never mind. Larson's going to get around.
So now...
This is exactly what Larson needed. He's back on the lead lap now, so now he's going to need himself a caution, and then an immediate another caution, which I still don't think we're going to get, but he's got stage 1 of what he needs to do down.
And now Logano has been brought right up to the back of the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Harvick's going to go through on the inside, but we look a little bit further up, and the next group of lap traffic is now just coming out of turns 2 as these guys head down into turns 1. So Jay, I believe lap traffic could be a bit of a factor once more before this race comes to an end here, so definitely could get interesting.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if, maybe if Larson doesn't pull away from Blaney here, we may, what we just saw with Larson getting held up, or Blaney getting held up and getting passed by Larson, we may see that exact thing happen where now Larson gets held up and gets passed by Blaney. So I think Larson's really got to hope that he pulls out a gap here, because if he doesn't, he may be in trouble. Because we know his luck this season with lap cars has not been great at all. It's been very, very bad. So when they catch that group, if they catch that group before the end of this race, it might spell disaster for Larson.
And here you see that group just crossing the line now as Larson is pulling away from the 12 right now of Ryan Blaney there as he comes through to cross the line about close to 10 seconds or so later. But now, Jay, we got the top 6 drivers kind of under a blanket right here. So but considering how tough it is to pass, I really don't know how these guys are going to plan to pass each other now because we've seen just how hard it is to actually make some passes at this point in the run.
I'm not sure we will see anybody really be able to make a pass for the lead here unless, somebody like Harvick, we get towards the end of the run like I mentioned before, and he has that really good long run speed compared to some of these other guys. I don't think we'll see anybody make a pass for the lead. I think that clean air is just a little bit too important right now. And I don't think anybody just has really like dominant speed compared to any of these people. The only person that does is that Kyle Larson right there, who's obviously just gotten back on the lead lap and needs everything lucky to go his way to be even in contention again. And I don't think it will ever see him get back up towards the front, even if he got those 2 cautions that he needs. So I'm not too sure that we'll see anybody really make any big passes here for the lead. But I mean, if there's one person that can do it, it seems to be either Logano or Hamlin right now.
I mean, Hamlin just passed Harvick there to move up into P3, a little bit over 30 laps remaining here from Phoenix Raceway as Logano's just right on the back of Blaney, but like we mentioned, really can't do anything now as we look at where this lap traffic is. This is the main group. I feel like this could be the deciding factor if it stays green to determine the outcome of this race. These 3 drivers right here of J.J. Yaley, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware, they can't get away from each other. So these guys are going to have to deal with 3 different cars, and there is no doubt about it, Jay. They are going to get to those guys before this race comes to an end as you actually see the 4 now under attack from Tyler Reddick.
Oh, certainly, they're definitely going to get to him. But the one thing I didn't think about, we haven't discussed much, is I'm pretty confident these guys still have to make another pit stop. So it might be really smart for someone like Logano or Hamlin or Harvick to see those lap cars coming up as they're getting close to them, and then just immediately dive to pit road and get those fresh tires on and not have to deal with those lap guys right away. So I'm thinking they're going to still have to make another pit stop, and if they do, then it'll be interesting to me to see who makes the pit stop and when, and if they do it, timing it between the lap cars and not have to deal with those guys.
Now, what if both Kyle Larson and Matt DiBenedetto can make it? All of a sudden, they finish P1, P2.
Maybe if they can make it to the end, they'll certainly be able to take the lead. But I don't know. They're tired. They'll be. It's such a big disadvantage when it comes to the tires. They may just lose way too much time. With how long pit road here is, it may not matter. They may put those guys 2 laps down. But I'm not too sure about that. I think that if they're not 2 laps down, if they only put Blaney and Logano and all them only 1 lap down, then they're just maybe too big of a tire disadvantage, and they'll probably they could potentially get past right towards the end.
There you see the 8 of Reddick nearly clear of the 4 of Harvick down the back. It's actually a 2x2 right here with Reddick, Harvick side by side, and Kurt Busch side by side with William Byron. But it looks like right here, Reddick might get clear of the 4 just barely as it came through to cross the line. But back up front, same situation currently going on with 28 laps to go here. Larson really hasn't pulled away very much. It looked like he was going to pull away, but he's kind of been just in the same 2 to 3 car lengths gap ahead of Ryan Blaney. But now, Jay, all of a sudden, the 96, he's losing connection with those 2 drivers of Cody Ware and the 54 JJ Yaley. So that's going to be the first one to watch to see what happens. And we saw him, I remember earlier in this race when Kyle Larson had to deal with him. The 96 nearly took him out, so definitely an opportunity for something to go down here. And now, if I'm Ryan Blaney, I'm a little bit nervous.
I think that the 96 getting separated there is probably the best thing that Larson could see all day. Well, not okay, definitely not all day, but is one of the best things he could see happening in front of him. Because if they catch all 3 of those guys at the same time, that's an even bigger hassle to get through than if they catch them one at a time. And so that one car being separated from the group and then being able to catch them one at a time, almost maybe one at a time, or one and then 2 cars, it's going to be a lot easier than 3. But I do agree. Talking about the leader with Blaney, that's that's something he doesn't want to see lap cars at all. And obviously, I mean, unless there's a caution right about now, they're going to catch lap cars and probably have them affect at least a little bit of the outcome of this race. But I noticed Logano a second ago. Looks like he was trying to make a move on Blaney, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him try something again. And maybe Logano's got the faster car at the moment. Um, as Larson's starting to gap Blaney a little bit. So, and actually, just as we were talking about Ty Dillon being away from those 2, he
He's
caught him
back
right
up
back
to him.
up. So,
Yeah.
this could get really interesting here if they're having to deal with 3 lap cars at once.
Kevin Harvick, he's actually now dropped down to P7, and we thought he had a good long run car, and here he is on the long run being the worst one. So he has dropped, 4 positions or so since we've kind of kicked off this longer run in this race. Now, as we're approaching now the final 20 laps of the race, the big question, we've had this question pop up already this season, is can they make it to the end? We've been wrong pretty much every time. But we know it's definitely got to be close here, as we are going to be catching this lap traffic within the next lap or 2 here, as Kyle Larson. I mean, Jay, could Blaney maybe just kind of use Kyle Larson as his navigator through these guys? It could kind of use that 5 to his advantage.
Yeah, he really, really could. If Larson struggles to get through these guys here, Blaney could just look at what he's doing and do the exact opposite and get through these guys really easy. I think he's going to get past Ty Dillon here all right. But as far as Cody Ware and the other Rick Ware racing car, I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to get past him easily. It looks like Blaney's not going to get held up either. So Ty Dillon actually doing the right thing and getting out of the way for once in this race. But Cody Ware, it looks like he's not going to get out of the way. Ooh, it might have been slight contact there. Can't blame Larson for that.
And they're going to go to the
They're all
inside.
going to get through him pretty easily.
So far, so good for these guys. Yeah, Blaney follows through on the inside. So far, they are very calm. Then we got the 54 of Yaley, who's still going to be in the mix. And I was hoping these guys were going to go to the inside of the 96. Logano, they're actually going to make a move up the inside of Blaney for the lead. This is not where I thought it was going to happen. They're 3 wide right now as they come through. out of turns 2. Are they going to keep it clean? Yes, they do, but they're still side by side. Logano has to do it right now. This is now or never. He's going to get cleared, though, into turn 3. That, Jay, might have been Logano's last and only chance to make a move for the lead.
That may have been his last chance, but I think if you look forward
Oh,
here a bit, oh, he's going at him again. Right back at him here on the attack, but last time this didn't work. Let's see if Logano can make it happen this time. He
good grip.
might be able to clear him here, slide job him off of turn 2. He does. Logano to the lead.
Blaney side drafts
Ryan
down the
Blaney's going to
back.
fight back, though.
Side by side clear. Logano clears Ryan Blaney, his teammate. Wow. But Blaney, he's going to try once again to fight back on that right-hand side, but not going to have anything. Both Logano and Hamlin, they cut down onto that apron to kind of extend that gap, but Blaney's still trying to fight back there as they go down into turns 1. Here's Kyle Larson, loves every second of it. He's opened up a nice gap, but Hamlin even to the inside now of the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Quinn Half is going to be the next target to watch for here as Hamlin into turns 3. I thought that was about to be an incident there as he kind of sailed it off into the corner now as all of a sudden, Jay, we're seeing Blaney fade with less than 20 laps to go when he's been in control for a majority of this final stage.
Yeah, it's really just a product of being out of the preferred lane. And like I've mentioned before, when you're not running the preferred lane around here, you're just slow. You're going to get past, and it's not going to work for you. So Hamlin's probably going to work his way around Blaney here off of turn 4, and he's going to go and try and eat away this little bit of lead Logano has and try and make a pass on him, which I think he could honestly do. He's been a hard charger so far this stage, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go after Logano here and get it done, as he can't even get it done on Blaney, so maybe I'm wrong.
And Blaney looks to the inside of Quinn Half there as it comes through out of turns 2. Half not too much of a factor, too much of an issue. By the way, William Byron up into that 4th position there as these guys are really struggling to get past this 00, and Logano opening up a gap now to just above half a second, which is actually one of the, if not the largest lead we've seen all day actually here in Phoenix. These guys, Jay, no matter what the speed is, they've seemed to be still very close on track overall. We've never seen anybody get above 6 to 7 tenths of a second ahead of second place.
Yeah, pretty much the whole day we've seen the top 4, at the very least top 4, all pretty much be under a blanket. Nobody's been able to really run away from each other, which is kind of surprising to me. But at the same time, in doing so, them being close, we haven't seen a lot of passing. It's just been kind of been parading around and following each other just because it seems like you can't pass. So even though we're not seeing somebody pull away and dominate the crap out of this race, we're still seeing, whoever gets in the lead generally stays in the lead unless, you have some things happen where a lap car's getting away and a guy gets an opportunity to pass. But, I mean, yeah, we just haven't seen the guys pull away huge gaps on each other.
Bubba Wallace has made a move and passed Daniel Suarez, by the way. Moves up to the 9th position. So Suarez actually looking to cross him over here into turns 1. But overall, Jay, I think this is the best performance that we've seen all season long so far from Bubba Wallace and that 2311 Racing team.
I think it's about the best performance we've seen from both of these teams so far. We've seen Trackhouse run pretty good, but I'm not sure if they've finished top 10 yet. And obviously we've seen 23XI struggle the entire season so far. So yeah, definitely a good run for both of them, and also a good run for Bowman as well, being right there just outside of the top 10. And Keselowski, I think, is right behind him. I was mentioning, highlighted at the early start of this race, they were both having really bad points, or done really bad in the points so far, and really needed to have a good finish today. And they're both right there outside the top 10. So really good runs for them today.
Logano now almost a full second ahead of his teammate Ryan Blaney here in the final stages of this race, closing in on the final 10 laps. And here he is pulling away from second place and third place, of course, of Denny Hamlin as they go down into turns 3. A bit caught off guard, Jay. I look at Joey Logano. Even at the end of stage 2, I mentioned earlier, he was scrapping it out with Denny Hamlin, hanging on for dear life, and ended up missing out on that final stage point. And here he is taking over in the late stages of this race. I did not see this one coming at all.
I didn't see it coming either. He came out of nowhere, kind of like Blaney did and De Benedetto earlier in this race before De Benedetto obviously got taken out in the wreck. But even so, I think without the issue that Larson had, I think Larson still dominates this race and pulls away and I mean, you see there, he's stuck behind him, and Logano's stuck behind him and can't do anything with him. So, really, 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 still, I look at the things that happened to Larson. Really unfortunate for him, and obviously ultimately cost him this race. But yeah, Logano taking the lead is not something that I expected, especially after the way that we saw him not run well in stage one, and then in stage two barely miss out on the stage points, and obviously all of a sudden he's up here towards the end, leading at the almost at the end of this race.
All of a sudden, though, that gap is decreasing between the 22 and the 12. So it was almost 9 tenths. Well, now it's down to about 3.5 tenths of a second between the 22 and the 12. And I do look at, we have 9 laps to go. And there's going to be 2 more cars in the mix that these guys have to work their way through if it stays green. And that is the 10 of Eric Almirola, last week's winner, of course, not backing it up very well. And then the 34 of Michael McDowell, who has turned 2 people today, Jay. So definitely got to be careful when they get to him. But it's going to be interesting here with now less than 10 laps to go. 8 laps to go to be exact. As you see, Hamlin, he's falling off. Blaney lost a little bit of time there. But one last opportunity for Blaney to do anything here is going to be all down to what happens with Logano in the 10 and the 34.
I'm still looking for these guys to pit. I really don't think that they can make it, and if they can, that is a long way to go. 80 or so laps on a fuel run. That's just that seems just way too long. I have no idea how they'll make it to the end if they do. But it seems like, I mean, at this point, it seems like if they can't make it to the end, then Larson's strategy may have been right, and he may be able to make it to the end and indeed still win this race somehow if nobody else can make it. So, I mean, we were calling it kind of dumb and being dumbfounded earlier, but I mean, if it turns out that it was the right move, then props to that team. But right now, it still looks like the wrong move, and certainly a giant mistake for them to pit.
I believe that these guys are going to make it to the end now. And I also should mention, if we have a caution pretty much within or after lap 100 and what, 83, 84 right here, then it will be a caution to the end of this race. So, I mean, Logano would love to see a caution come out right now, I'm sure. But we come through out of turns 4, and as we cross the line, 5 laps to go. Ryan Blaney has cut the gap to, once again, about 3.5 tenths. But now, here is Eric Almirola under attack from Kyle Larson. This is where it's going to get interesting. This is going to be the big picture to watch now of how Joey Logano deals with these guys. And I mean, worst case scenario right here, Jay, is they're side by side in front of them.
Yeah, they're going to stay side by side, and it certainly seems like that whatever damage Almirola got has affected his speed a lot, because Larson ran up on him and basically almost had no issue getting by him. And he's going to almost park it in front of Logano there, and had he done that, that would have opened the door right up for Blaney. They would have caught him so fast, and now he's got to get through the 34 as well.
Didn't
So
clear him.
this could be really, really, really interesting here if the 34 winds up sitting in front of Logano.
Coming to 3 laps to go, Logano having a tough time. This could be an opportunity. Blaney, he could maybe cut the dog leg. No, he does not. Logano does, though. He will clear Almirola. That could have been a big opportunity for Blaney, but he did not quite take it there as Logano looks to the inside of McDowell. If I'm Blaney, you got to make it happen right now. We're coming to the final 2 laps of this event here in Phoenix. But if Blaney doesn't clear the 34 right here, it's game over now as they go down into turns 3, and that's exactly what Blaney doesn't want now as they come through out of turns 4. So 2 laps to go here in Phoenix. He is close enough, Jay. He might have some chance right here as he's kind of looking into turns 1, but he's not going to have anything right there as they come through the center of the corner. He looks to the inside. Through 1 and 2, Blaney trying to steal the win back as Logano stole the lead earlier. Down the back straightaway, a lap and a half to go here from Phoenix Raceway. Hamlin in the background if something goes wrong between these two, but they are definitely going to make it to the end as they come through out of turns 4. White flag in the air. Blaney at his quarter panel as Logano has the advantage down the front straightaway for the final time in Phoenix. But right here, it's going to come down to turns 1 and 2. Blaney has the advantage on the exit of the corner. If he clears Logano, it's game over, but he doesn't quite clear him. They're going to be side by side for the final time. Down the back into turn 3. Hamlin clear if something goes wrong. Now as they come through turns 3 and 4 for the final time out of the corner, who's it going to be? It's going to be, I believe, Logano wins in Phoenix by what, 1/1000th or so of a second.
What a finish.
Wow. Ryan Blaney put up one heck of a fight there. It's a shame he couldn't come out with the victory after putting up a fight like that there in the final laps of this event as Logano picks up the victory And Jay, you also know what this means. It still means now Stuart Haas didn't win, but Ford has won every race so far this season still.
5 races, 5 wins for Ford. 5 races, right?
Yep,
4 races, 5 races. Yeah,
5.
5 races now, or 5 wins now, and 5 races so far for Ford this season. Which, I mean, wow, manufacturer dominance so far by them. But man, I didn't expect that to happen. I did not expect that finish at all. We've seen Phoenix to be quite boring in the past, and especially when you get on the long run, and we saw it so far today. They couldn't pass the entire time, and all of a sudden Blaney right there at the end makes a run on Logano, and I really think that him being on the inside there and 3 and 4 was put him at a massive disadvantage. He just was
Absolutely.
not able to get back to the gas in time, and it gave Logano just that little bit of edge to get him at the line. But wow, that was crazy. That was a great finish.
Caught me off guard for sure. So yeah, I mean, congratulations. Of course, Joey Logano locks himself into the playoffs at a track he's won at before. He knows how to get the job done here now. As we're gonna check out the finishing order on your screen
Got
now.
Blaney by one
Oh,
thousandth.
0.013. So just a little bit over that, but still, wow, what a finish. Now, as I mean, Jay, overall, I think we can agree that was definitely the calmest race of the season.
Calmest race in terms of, yeah, we didn't have any kind of wrecking, but I mean overall better than I was expecting. Expecting, excuse me. Especially with the race, with the way this race started off, and we saw, once they got going, they weren't really able to make any kind of, really any kind of big passes or anything. But right there towards the end, obviously we see Blaney, and I guess you're going for the win. You got to, you just got to throw it all out, right towards the end. So the scene that right there towards the end, that was a great finish, and I think that's really, everything you could ask for as a NASCAR fan. We saw some pretty good racing. We didn't see a guy pull away and have a 10-second lead. We saw a couple of crashes, which everybody likes, for the most part, likes to see crashes that are harmless, and it gets things exciting and and makes cautions come out and have exciting restarts. And the restarts here at Phoenix are they're absolutely insane, especially when you have slow lap cars in the way. But we saw a little bit of everything today. Saw some interesting strategy calls that didn't work out, and saw a really 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 close finish.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good race overall, and as well, Kyle Busch managed to get a top 10 out of that. That's 2 weeks in a row, and he didn't have any issues today. So very cool for not cool, but very good overall for Kyle Busch. Bubba Wallace as well in the top 10. Suarez actually faded down to P12. Bowman down to P14 by the time that race came to an end there. And of course, we had a handful of drivers DNF like Corey LaJoy, Cole Custer, BJ McLeod, Josh Balicki, Anthony Alfredo the rookie, Eric Jones in the 43, Chase Elliott, as well as Noah Gragson. But Jay, we look ahead to what's to come here in the next few weeks, and it's going to get interesting. So we got Atlanta, then we got the Bristol Dirt Race, then Martinsville, Richmond, and Talladega. That's the next 5 races. So, we look at Atlanta next week. The mile and a half this season have been insane. And the way Atlanta is, I think we expect exactly the same next week. It's going to be insanity.
I think Atlanta could be potentially the most insane race we've seen so far. With the way that track is, the old surface, the potential to run 2 different lines. We know how fast these guys are there with basically not having no off throttle time. So yeah, I fully expect, especially with the way the tires were there as well, that track just completely eats and destroys tires, and we'll see, some guys probably getting loose towards the end of the run, and I think it's really going to be just a battle of attrition. I think it's the best way to describe next week's race in Atlanta.
Definitely looking forward to it. And of course, before we end today's episode of this 2021 NR 2003 NASCAR Cup Series season, we would just like to say a quick thank you to everybody for taking the time out of the day to watch this episode as well as the other ones. They've been doing pretty good on YouTube, and I'm very thankful for that. And I'm glad you guys have been enjoying them. But for myself and Jay Cook, that will do it for us today. And we will see you guys next week from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Have a great day, everybody.